Right now, right now?
Right now, right now.
Oh, shit.
Right here, right now. 49 seconds of recording.
Watching the world wake up from history. Sorry. Was that Jesus Jones?
Yep.
Oh, we are so good. Sup, Impactors? Welcome to the Pick of the Week podcast.
What?
Ayo, I am KirkFM, and tonight I am joined by Darren. Say what's up.
What's up?
And the amazing Mr. Simon. Say hello.
Hello.
There's nothing cooler or greater than starting a podcast off with Jesus Jones.
Yeah. Well, now I kind of know what the intro music is. Thanks, guys. I don't have to be like, shit, what am I going to use this week?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you're going to have to, stretch too far and, oh, man.
Thanks, Obama.
Would be perfect.
Hey, we're missing someone.
Oh, that's right. We don't have Mr. Sheldon with us this week.
I know where Sheldon is.
Where is he?
He's getting his Donald Trump haircut ready.
That was the joke you were saving. You were like, I've got this awesome Sheldon joke.
I'm trying to be nice.
I could drop it.
That's the joke?
Well, that was the joke.
I don't know. I was trying to be nice.
That was. It was good. It was good.
Yeah. I mean...
and we missed you last week, so we're doing a switcheroo.
Yeah. You know you guys can't have both of us in the same room at the same time.
Look, no one has actually photographed the two of you together in the same room. I'm just saying.
They are, but they might have been photoshopped.
Exactly. There's no actual proof of this. And anyways, anyone else who's listening, all this season of Doctor Who, we are going to be doing episode wrap-ups at the end of the PAL podcast. So if you're totally sick and tired of us talking about comic books, at least stick around for the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to do some Doctor Who talk.
Gonna talk about Doctor Who.
Yeah, episode 2 of season 9.
Yeah. Well,
and I'm sure there's
50-something if you want to be technical.
I'm not going to be technical.
All right.
I mean, I'm going to say episode 2 of season 2 of Peter Capaldi.
There you go, PCAP.
There you go. Is that what we're calling him now?
I've been calling him that for a year.
I prefer to call him Peter Capaldi.
PCAP and Genko.
Dude, he's always going to be Malcolm from In the Thick of It for me.
You're always going to be Malcolm from In the Thick of It.
I'll take it.
All right, this got awkward.
No, but he had the best lines in that show.
Have you guys ever seen In the Loop? The movie with Capaldi? It's on Netflix.
All right.
That's a great movie.
And I think he wrote it, right?
Oh, I think he wrote it. I mean, he's won an Oscar for writing.
Yeah.
The other thing that, like I said, we'll talk about comic books eventually, but
we will.
Peter Capaldi also let it slip that he is going to direct a few episodes of Veep this season.
Is he?
The Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Apparently, he knows a lot of the writers, and everyone is kind of...
That makes sense. That's totally his sense of humor.
And especially after watching In the Loop, you'll understand why that even makes more sense.
Okay, so can we just get on board with how amazing Peter Capaldi is as an actor and artist and creator?
Can we just make the pick of the week the podcast about Peter Capaldi?
Yeah, the pick of the week is Peter Capaldi. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Dr. Who, great. Bye. Mercy.
By the way, we didn't even talk. Who has the pick this week?
You do, sir.
You do.
I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, we said this already.
Well,
we said this in our Facebook messages.
Yeah.
Oh, I was still over on the MySpace group chat.
Yeah, maybe if you'd pay attention to your buddies.
Yeah, maybe if you respawn.
Ow. Well, I'm talking too much then. Guys, who wants to start off the episode tonight?
I think Darren should. He had the pick last week.
Good call.
I guess that makes sense in some world, but I will start.
Those are the rules we made up right now.
And now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my pick this week is Invisible Republic, issue 6, which is the start of a brand new story arc. And, when I first started reading this book, I was like, this is pretty good. But this is a kind of book that just gathers momentum as it goes. And now it's become one of my absolute favorite books to read. And it has, I mean, Kirk, it has like a huge cast of characters, and yet it just seems to really balance and hold like the central story. Like it's a really good book, and I'm really surprised that a lot of people aren't reading it.
Well, you know what I'm surprised about, Darren? Like, I love this book. Since the beginning, I said this is like Blade Runner meets Citizen Kane with like a little bit of 1984.
Yeah.
It's only issue 6.
I know. They've already done so much.
Like, I feel like there's so much world building that's happened from Gabe and Karina that it's not in a bad way. I feel like this is issue like 20 or 30 because we know so much about these characters already. And yet we don't. That's what's great.
Yeah, I mean the last. I mean, Kirk, are you reading this book?
That's the scary part. I'm not, and it totally flew under my radar until Simon mentioned it maybe a week ago to me, and now both you guys are on issue 6, and guys, pitch it to me. Tell me
like
why.
Sci-fi?
Okay, well,
yeah.
I'll give you. I mean, they actually do a really good breakdown of what the book's about. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at the breakdown when it says previously. It's a world. There was a dictator named Arthur McBride, and he had this called the Mallory regime, and he ruled this planet called Avalon for a bunch of years. His dictatorship fell apart, fell into chaos, and the whole thing fell apart. And so we come into this world sort of after the fall of this dictatorship, and there's like a reporter who is who's got a great name, Kroger Bab.
I want to know which one of them came up with all these names. If it was Gabe or Karina.
Some of the names are all great, and so Kroger Bab, he's just a totally down and out like character, and he finds this big, just huge, like slab of paper. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it turns out to be like the memoirs of Arthur McBride, the dictator's cousin, Maya. And so it's basically like, imagine like a parallel history of Hitler's regime. Do you know what I mean? Like somebody finding something like that, and kind of like how important that would be if you could get something like that published. But of course, he's not the only person interested in these memoirs. There's other people chasing him, and sort of a lot of the first 5 issues is kind of him bouncing around trying to stay alive while we get the like what's in the journal. So we see the past, and we see how Arthur McBride like actually started to ascend to power. We see her journal.
Okay.
And at the point we're at now, it's Kroger Bab is with this other journalist, Fran Warrenoff. They join forces to try and get the story out. But at the point that we're at on issue 6, they got a bunch of people with guns trained on them. You know what I mean? They're backed against a wall. And basically issue 6 kind of does something I didn't think the book was going to do, which is it opens up the scope of the book to even wider than the book was already at, which I think like narratively it is incredibly difficult to do, and somehow they really pull it off. And
it's pretty much like this, Kirk. Remember playing Zelda?
Uh-huh.
Remember how you couldn't see some levels until you got up to those levels?
Right.
That's literally what they did. They opened up the world, like, and you're like, whoa! This whole entire part of this world that I think Darren will agree with me that we had no idea would even exist.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just what Darren described to me, I can't believe they did this in 6 issues.
Exactly.
No, that's me and Simon were talking about that. Like, it's only issue 6.
But yeah, it feels like it's been around for 20, 30 issues because, and once you start reading this book, you'll be like, oh my God, they've introduced this whole entire world, this whole entire technology, this whole entire class struggle. Also, it's it's like an amazing book that I feel like only a handful of people know about, and it's sad because it's from an amazing creative team, and it's from Image. I don't know why
it's an Image comic, and who's on the?
It's an Image book that Kirk is not reading. It's shocking. But the other thing that's amazing about it, Kirk, is that
calling me out on that because I do wear my Image fanboy on my sleeve. So
I know
you do, but apparently not so much that you don't read this.
But the other thing that's really fascinating about the book is it's not a dense book. It's actually really decompressed. So they don't sit around and explain the world to you. You just gotta go. You just gotta follow it as it goes. You're running with the reporter. You're finding shit out as he's finding shit out. And awesome. But the amazing thing is they do give you all this information, but it's really decompressed storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is like, that's really hard to do, and that's really hard to pull off, and they pull it off. Gabriel Hardman and Karina Bechko, I'd love to talk to them about this book because it is it's a sci-fi book that's got a hint of like Blade Runner and a bunch of other,
like I told you, Blade Runner, kind of Citizen Kane with the reporter. And what's great, it's also Gabe's feel makes it like an old world, but yet it's a futuristic world.
Yeah, it's like a lived-in world.
So it's not shiny, glossy, And
then the art is the art is gorgeous, but it's not like, he's not only a really good artist, but he's a great storyteller.
Yeah, like there's panels in here you can just stop and admire. There's one page, I'm getting to it, on the Comixology version, page 13, which is just a giant page with just word, thought bubbles, but just so laid out, so nice, and it's just, you really appreciate Gabe's art, and you just sit down and you're like, wow, this is art.
That's awesome.
It's great sequential storytelling. And like, as a total sci-fi geek, I love the ship designs and the weapons and the world. I'm going to say it's the best sci-fi book being published right now that no one knows about. And I don't see why this isn't one of the books Image really pimps out.
That's interesting that you point that out, because I don't see many solicitations for it.
Right.
I don't see many advertisements for it. And like you said, no one's reading it because you're the only two guys I know that are reading it have told me about it.
Dude, just listen to these words. This is from a full page spread where they show Arthur McBride walking towards you.
Is this the page I'm talking about? Page 13?
I think so. There's like an explosion behind him.
Yeah.
And these are the words. Arthur embraced his new avatar. The movement fell for his act. They loved him for what they thought he had done. And who would want to contradict such a romantic ideal? He struck a blow against our oppressors and was ready to do it again. In fact, he did do it again and again. Come on!
So, I mean, that's just more story coming, and you can't wait to hear about it.
Exactly. And when you see the artwork, you'll be like, oh, shit.
All right, Invisible Republic. This needs to happen in my
life. By the time 7 comes out, we shall all talk about it.
Okay, so
including you, sir.
I have homework. I have a month to get caught up.
Honestly, dude, I will buy you the trade paperback.
Aww.
That's how I feel about it. I feel it's like, dude, just read this.
All right.
If you don't like it, I'll eat the book. It's fine.
You'll eat the book?
I'll eat it, like, monetarily.
Oh.
I was going to say, because, like, we just have our next YouTube video.
I know.
Go at that point.
Oh, yeah! How about instead of unboxings, I tear apart comic books and slowly eat them?
What would you call that?
Cannibalizing comics.
That sounds like a great 90s pop band.
We should.
That's actually a really good idea. Like destroying a really precious comic book.
No!
Just
Oh, you know
destroying
what
it
though?
to show how pointless it is to worship paper.
I do have. You know what? I can volunteer my X-Men 141 the first time that the Phoenix died because somebody came over to my house and put a cup of coffee on top of it.
Oh.
Okay.
And
Okay, it'll be Darren. You know, Darren eats a comic. You know, comic book cannibalism.
It's just 5 minutes of people standing around you crying while you do it.
Yeah, you'll be crying you'll be crying in a corner, and I'll just slowly be like cooking it in a sauce.
We just kind of make it look like it's a found footage video, and it's just you like cannibalizing the comic book, and then slowly it pans over, and in the corner is like all the people from Comic Impact, just like in Blair Witch Project, just like
shaking
crying.
their head.
Yeah, just like no,
just like in snot coming down your nose, you like out of your nose, like
oh my god, he ate. Oh, Jenny, that's not 141.
and I'll slowly kill this comic. You know, I'll take like 20 seconds to rip it out of its, you know, protected sleeve. It'll be like a violation unknown.
I've always wanted to take a graded comic and smash the fuck out of it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's do this.
People would watch that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and then you would get a bunch of hate mail from comic fans.
You do realize that we have moved on to a completely new form of untapped torture porn, right? This is just like fanboys all over. Like,
think about it.
Oh, you know there's people.
Shit these guys come up with.
Because what I care about is like reading
story.
I want to read a comic, and I'm so sick of these comics. Like, this comic's 40 years old. It's valuable. It's like, no, it's been reprinted.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean anything.
Hey,
Andy Warhol did it with like art himself. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, let's do it.
Hey guys, I can get you an amazing fantasy number 15 mint condition for like $3. It's called Comixology, people.
There you go.
It's in the cloud. You're done reading it.
Everyone can own Amazing Fantasy 15. Isn't that amazing? Literally.
Yeah, don't even get me started. I am the biggest supporter of digital comics, and I'm still surprised I am, but I love them.
I'm not there yet. I'm 50-50.
I know! I heard you talk about going to the store. I was like, what store are you going to?
Well, I go to all the stores. I spread my love, man.
I know, but like, what? I was like, is he going to the market? Is he going to 7-Eleven? Why am I sounding like an old Jewish man right now?
I don't know. Where are you going with this, huh?
I don't know.
That was my worst old Jewish man.
Yeah, same with mine.
That was awful.
That was so bad.
I was like, where? It
sounded more like it sounded more like Zoidberg, and I'm like embarrassed that that's the character I sounded more like than anything.
Zoidberg's awesome, dude.
All right, who's got the next book?
I guess I do.
All right, go for it.
So are we doing one book or two book?
Well,
we'll wing it. We'll see where we're at.
Okay.
Winger.
Jeff Winger.
All goes back to Winger.
All right, so I'm going to talk about an image book also.
Go for it.
I think this is going to become the image appreciation podcast, right?
Absolutely.
So if you're a fan of Peter Capaldi and image books, you're going to love this week's episode. I want to talk to you about Elephantmen number 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another amazing sci-fi book from Mr. Richard Starkings. And it's so great because 66. 65 was the previous issue. 66 is kind of like a recap issue. So if you've been listening to the show, or if you've ever been like, oh, I should really read the Elephantmen, I keep hearing about Elephantmen. Well, guess what? You could kind of do it with 66, because the first couple pages are pretty much breaking down what the Elephantmen were, and they were this science project. They were these weapons to destroy in a big war. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, edit. War. And it's just so great because it's the political side of it. There's this new person that's like, I don't want to create any more of these. I want to create something stronger, faster, better. So it's kind of the government saying, these warriors are out of date, and I want something stronger, faster, that'll take care of our enemies. It's such an interesting recap Like I'm looking through it right now, and it's
And
literally.
And this is another book that you guys recommended to me, and I'm about 12 issues into it now, and I'm one excited that I still have another 50 something issues to read,
Well, good.
and two, I only discovered maybe 3 or 4 years ago that I really do enjoy reading anthropomorphic characters.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
That's for you, Darren.
we had to throw that shout out. Of course, the turtles had to get brought up in every
TMNT.
POW podcast that we do.
And Star Wars and Kirby. There, I'm done. I've said it. Wait, and Brubaker.
Kirby Bubbles. Bill Finger. Okay, we're good. We're good.
All right, I'm done with the show.
And
so we're just gonna say random words. I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
It's just become word salad.
Comics.
And it's just the entire episode will be hashtags. It's pathetic. Hashtag pathetic.
Hashtag comic pathetic life.
And the other cool thing about this was the concept of it wasn't. It's not just like look at all this action. It was real life struggle of you come back from war
and how you deal with it.
And now what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a relatable topic and subject, and something that we should be having a conversation about today in today's politics and with our veterans that come home.
But sadly, we don't.
And we don't.
But they're not elephants.
Or hippos.
No. I don't. I really do mean it. Like, this is a really great conversation that he's opened up with this book.
Yeah.
And it's thought-provoking, and I really do appreciate it.
So it's a great catch-up issue. And at the same time, the last maybe, I don't know, it's hard to tell on the digital copy. It's maybe the last 10 pages are like full action of what's going on. And we got our characters kind of surrounded in like a bunker/sewer. We'll talk more about sewers later. And we're not just talking about turtles, if you know what I'm talking about, guys.
Teasers.
Yep.
Spoilers.
And it's just great because it just makes me love this comic so much when it comes out. And I don't know why it's delayed. The last issue came out in July, and now we get this. But if you know me, you know I love this book. I've raved about this book. I have art from this book permanently inked onto me. Not this issue, but a cover, or a hardcover. But it's literally another great sci-fi book that's overlooked from the public. You know?
I'm not going to necessarily say overlooked. I think it definitely has a very solid fan base.
It has the amazing fan base, and Richard has his fans. He has his legion of fans. But once again, it's one of those books that, Image, why are you not promoting this book more?
You know what? That's a good question, but I definitely feel that Elephantmen is collecting a lot of new fans on the regular.
And that's because of Richard promoting it.
Yeah, just how consistently good it has been. Because I definitely am seeing, as a new reader, at issue 12, 13 right now, that it is another, like you said earlier, it's another book it gains momentum as the story goes.
Well, both Invincible Republic and Elephantmen are those type of books. As soon as I'm done, I'm like, I have to wait? Like, I'm always like, why can't these be double-sided issues?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
great
sci-fi, and it's great independent comics.
Mm-hmm.
From some of the biggest names in the comic industry that you might not know.
Isn't that funny how that works out?
No, seriously, like, how many people actually know who Karina and Gabe are? They might be like, oh yeah, I remember when they did this and this and that. But they're an amazing creative team. Richard Starkings is in pretty much every book that you read, people. Look at the lettering and look if it's comic craft. Richard had his hand on it. I mean, you guys were talking about Captain America White last podcast. Richard did the lettering on that. So there's always an element of these people in your comic salad.
Mm-hmm.
As Darren will cut it up and eat it for you.
Yeah, I will.
So, I mean, they're great comics. I feel like this is going to be a big sci-fi episode of the ComicImpact Pick of the Week.
It is, actually. Dude, thank you for bringing that up. I'm really glad.
Yeah.
I guess that means me now, huh?
Yeah.
You're the last guy here.
I know. I'm not gonna do. Am I doing the pick? I'm not doing the pick yet, am I?
No, why not? We could talk about some more books.
Yeah, I think so. Image. What? Let's see here.
This show is not sponsored by Image, but it should be.
Not in the least. You know what? I am actually gonna pick up. I'm gonna talk about the Free Country trade that came out.
All right.
By Neil Gaiman.
All right.
And
you know what? I almost picked that up.
I did. Okay, so I'm glad. Here's the thing. I'm not done reading it yet. First of all, I just wanted to say it came out this week. It's called Free Country, The Tale of the Children's Crusade. And it's by Neil Gaiman, Toby Litt, Peter Gross, Chris Bachalo, and Peter, I'm going to screw his name up, Snidge.
Oh, I love that guy.
Exactly, right? And a bunch of other creators and artists. And
yeah, I mean, they never finished it.
They never finished it. And here's the cool part. Like, I got a really great little history lesson when I picked it up and had to go, like, research back a little bit. Basically, back in 93, 94-ish, when Vertigo was, like, in full swing, and it was a bunch of these awesome creators. Neil Gaiman was a part of that. Grant Morrison doing Animal Man. There was all these great Vertigo titles happening. And at some point, someone said, wouldn't it be great if we did a crossover with all the Vertigo titles? The thing is that in Vertigo, it basically each thing is onto itself a different world and not necessarily connected all together. So they didn't quite understand how they were going to do a crossover event. And then someone brought up that each title had, and especially because it's so funny because it's for mature audiences, but each title had a younger character or a child in the cast. And so they figured that was how they could connect all the titles together and pull each one of these child characters out of their respective titles and make this connecting story with all the vertical titles. Excuse me. And basically Neil Gaiman wrote the bookends of the crossover. So he did the first issue, which was a standalone, and then he had a writing team help him with the second issue, which ended the whole thing. And there were elements that went through all the Vertigo annuals that came out that year. And they didn't necessarily tell a whole coherent story, but you could see touches and tinges of these child characters crossing over and them dealing with whatever the bigger thing was in their own personal way in each of the annuals.
Yeah, so, like Timothy Hunter, who was Harry Potter before there was Harry Potter.
Pretty much.
Exactly. The original Harry Potter.
Yeah, and then it goes on. I mean, and on top of that, it's so funny you bring up Harry Potter because the writers of the Dead Boy Detective Agency were heavily involved in all this storytelling, which is also one of my favorite series. Go check that out. And the funny thing was they didn't know how to collect it. They never made a collected volume of all these titles because they said like it wouldn't really make any sense. It doesn't necessarily have a continuous story throughout that people could follow without also buying 10, 12, 13 issues of all the other titles that they were talking about in Vertigo. So what they ended up doing was collecting all the co-writers that helped Neil Gaiman in the last part of the issue that he wrote and said, hey, why don't you write a middle volume that connects both issues? It'll be completely new. It has nothing to do with all the Vertigo crossover annuals that we did back in 93, 94. And it would just complete the story, and it would be a 3-act story.
Wow.
And it's cool. So they did that, and they collected it, and they released it this week. Free Country, A Tale of the Children's Crusade. And I'm just now getting into the second part of the book, which is all the new material that was written. And
I hate you, Kirk.
With passion, apparently.
Why did you have the moral fortitude to hunker down and buy this book? Because I looked at the book and I almost took it to the counter and I didn't. Damn you, Kirk.
Oh, it's only gonna get worse, dude. I'm halfway through all the new stuff, and it really maintains the voice of what they created back in the 90s, and I'm really loving it. I really am.
You were suckling at your mother's teat back then. I was actually reading those books.
Hey, can I mention something before you guys like kill each other over Skype?
Yeah, go for it.
I totally forgot to mention this about Elephantman. Next Wednesday, if you're in the Los Angeles area, Collector's Paradise in Winnetka will have Richard Sorkins signing autographs.
Oh, hey, that's
Oh,
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. So
What day is that?
that would be the 5th of
The 5th.
October.
So go look that up and go meet an awesome comic book creator.
And tell him that you love giraffes. And apparently something rang at the same time when I said that.
That is me. That is my auto mechanic calling me right when I told him not to call me.
Of course. Do you want to take that?
No, I really don't. I'm good.
All right.
So.
And tell him you love giraffes.
Oh, he loves giraffes.
Yeah.
That's seen from your sketchbook.
Yes.
So that is Free Country. Go meet Richard over at Collector's Paradise.
God, I hope I can. I hope I
Darren,
still get it.
Darren's gonna hate me forever.
I fucking hate you.
Amazon.com.
And also, I'd just like to point out, like, just the way they collected the volume.
I love you.
The hardcover is so good. It's really nice and beautiful. The slipcover is great.
Oh, hardcovers. They broad art them and they stay good forever.
Yes, and also it is because of the little introduction by Neil that I was like, I have to go research why and how this all came into being. It's fantastic.
Or you can just read the digital version.
See, this is where I say I'm 50-50.
I still get hard on for a hardcover, man.
I know you do.
Yeah.
It was weird. One day we were walking in a comic shop. I felt something poke me, and I was like, "Whoa!" And he's like, "Look, sorry, Brubaker has a new hardcover that came out this week." I was like, "All right,
yeah,
it's understandable."
And he's just slowly caressing the corners and like all the imprinted parts of the title.
And then he got kicked out of the store, and I had to be like, "Look, you don't understand. He loves Brubaker in like some weird fetish way. Like he breaks Skype anytime he talks about him." We do this podcast, and anytime he mentions Brubaker, it becomes
So
don't get me started on that.
Aww.
Hurts my feelings.
No, it doesn't. It just means that we keep using you to talk about Brubaker because you are now like the Brubaker keeper of the flame over at Comic Impact.
Yeah,
I mean, you do realize that like because of you, like we now have the strongest encyclopedic knowledge of Brubaker than anybody else.
Really?
Yeah,
probably more than he does.
You're not just saying that?
No, God no. God no.
We love you, Darren, and we love your Brubaker.
I love you guys too. I'm sorry that I yelled at you, Kirk.
It's okay, man.
I'm sorry that I yelled at you.
It's all right.
I just get so jealous.
Okay. I'm hugging the computer and looking at your face.
I'm looking at you.
All right.
Whew, thank God we're not doing video this week.
Okay, so what's the next book?
You're up, sir.
What? Who? Me?
Yeah,
yes.
You know what? I read Weird World this week.
Yeah, was it weird?
Jason Aaron?
Yeah, the Jason Aaron book. It's actually a really good book. I mean, Jason Aaron is the man, as everybody knows.
So true.
But it's really I mean, I'll be honest with you. I haven't been reading it. I just picked it. I just went, what the hell? I'm going to read it and see if I can still follow what's going on.
And could you?
And you can. I mean, they have this. I guess this hero, is it Akron or Archon, who carries lightning bolts on his back. He's an old character, but he's basically a stand-in for Conan, and he's being pursued by Skull the Slayer, and Skull the Slayer is like, I guess used to be like a Vietnam vet or something like that, but somehow got transformed into this killing machine, and by Morgana Le Fay. For anybody who knows King Arthur, then they know who that is. But this one, they stumble into this swamp that's actually a swamp of swamp things.
Or is it man-things?
Or man-things, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's hard to tell the difference between the characters because there really is no difference. But there's like a whole swamp of these guys, and they are like hugging Archon and burning him, and he's seeing the thing that he's the most afraid of, which is his kingdom in flames. And it's a book about like the woman who's in control of the swamp thing or the man things is like the kind witch as opposed to Morgana. So I think she's her sister or something like that.
Her sister.
Her sister.
I had to.
So then the book, like the Skull the Slayer and Archon, they basically end up pledging themselves to her. Except Archon kind of says, "I'll screw that," and he starts running off on his own, and he like falls down, and he's just like totally tortured, and he's like seeing his city like destroyed, and he's like he's at the spot where his city should be, and it's not there. And then they go to this, they just pull back to this huge, like, full-page spread where they show the city. The city's actually underneath him, but he can't see it. And then it ends the issue. And I don't know, I just thought it was really good. Who's the artist? It's like Mundo? Is it Del Mundo?
I don't know.
He's really good. I mean, it's like a fully painted.
Oh, but you know what? I know why Aaron's working with him, because it's he does pencils, and it's a lot like the other guy he worked with doing the God Bomb and the early Thor series that he rebooted.
Yeah,
and it's very Frazetta if you kind of like want to look at it from a point of view. Like, Aaron works great with these fantasy illustrators.
Oh wait, I got his name here.
Well, I would imagine this book would feel like a Frazetta book. Like, I'm not reading it or anything.
But... Mike Del Mundo, that's his name.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
It's a gorgeous book, and it just reads like a Conan book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, it's like Conan in the Marvel universe. And I miss Conan.
Do you think they're using that character because they can't get the rights to Conan?
Yeah,
Conan's over at Dark Horse, right?
Yeah.
I think.
No, they're definitely they're just using like a stand-in.
Right.
Okay.
Non sequitur, you guys you're gonna call bullshit on this.
Bullshit.
I also called bullshit on myself and my friend who told me about it. He was like, "Do you want a really good Conan book right now?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "You're not gonna believe me. The He-Man series over at DC is great." I went, "Bullshit," and I went and picked up the first 3 issues. The He-Man series at DC is really great.
Is it?
You wouldn't believe it. It's amazing.
Well, maybe Uncle Sheldon will read some of those.
I'm not joking. If you're looking for a really good Conan story, Eternia and He-Man and all of that, it's still cartoony art, but it's got a way more serious tone, and it doesn't feel like, they're like comics like the old Transformers where they were just pushing toys. It is really good.
Well, I remember going back to 2012, if it's the same He-Man series, one of them was the pick of the week.
I believe it.
Is it that series? Because I feel like He-Man's one of those books that gets relaunched like every other year, kind of.
Okay, so this is, if I know correctly, this is the most recent relaunch.
Okay, so
yeah,
maybe a year ago or maybe a couple months ago. Who knows?
So I have to give a shout out to my friend Coop, who was like, "You're not going to believe it. It's great." And
his name is Coop.
Coop Cooperson.
Coop Cooperson.
The crosshatcher.
Yeah, he's gonna fine you for saying that.
Wait, his name's Coop?
Yeah.
So you were hanging out with Mr. Cooper?
No. Coop
Oh.
is he was one of my old bosses who, after I had to go and just do bartending full time, we stayed close comic book friends. And we talk about comics all the time. And
if you met him, Simon, you couldn't be further from Mr. Cooperson.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
It'd be more like I don't know. It'd be like walking into like 1977 Sex Pistols gig.
Nice.
Yeah, Coop
I want to be friends with Coop.
Coop is still the last punk in LA.
That's awesome.
He's awesome in that regard. So, yeah, Conan, He-Man, go check that out.
Weird World.
Yeah, check out Weird World. It really is a very strong book, and the art is gorgeous.
And I'm sorry I derailed, but when you were talking about Weird World, I was enjoying it for a different reason, and this is, for me, the appetizer before Aaron launches his Doctor Strange book in a few months.
Yeah.
And that's why Weird World is working really well for me. I cannot say any more W's for the life of me right now.
Walter White.
No, so I'm not even going to try. But yeah, it feels like he's just kind of sharpening his claws and honing his skills and getting ready for Doctor Strange. So
yeah, but he's telling. I mean, honestly, when you guys were talking about, God, what's I'm blanking on the book. Wounded Animals, I know, is one of the stories. Like, wasn't that one of the stories in the Animal?
And Elephantmen?
Elephantmen, yeah.
I was like, where is he going with this?
Well, anyway, I mean, honestly, this is Weird World is really a book about PTSD.
I feel like there's more of that out there, and people either get that it's out there or it's not.
Right.
And it is a serious topic.
It's a totally serious topic. It's just really entering the zeitgeist in a way that I find so it makes me feel good that people are talking about this thing that's existed since warriors first fought, since ancient Troy. You know what I mean?
Dude, you don't think Roman gladiators had that shit?
Yeah, I mean, it's just but I mean, I'm seeing it dealt with in the arts in a way that is very heartening to me, and like it means it's made it into the collective unconscious of our society.
I think a lot of comic creators that are around Jason Aaron, Richard Starking's age, I'm not saying they remember the Vietnam War, obviously they were too young, but this is their way of speaking out against war, like those guys did back in the 60s, and stand up and maybe just give a little message and be like, hey, war's bad.
Well, I don't think that it's just an indictment of war. It's a validation of the warrior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Also,
that's a fascinating way to look at it. I hadn't thought of that. That is
without
awesome.
going in too deep, if you follow Richard on Facebook, you know he's about humanity. Mm-hmm. You know that he's very close about the best for humanity out there. Something that he does on his free time, and it's a big part of his life, is his Buddhist practice. So, of course, he's going to talk about how evil war is. I'm curious why Jason Aaron does it. Maybe he lost someone close to him. Who knows? Jason Aaron, if you're listening, let's talk.
No, but I left out a key detail. Like at the end of the issue, he's about to kill himself.
Oh, wow.
And he's got like one of the lightning bolts. Like,
is that the last issue of this mini or no?
No, there's one more.
Okay.
And he's got like the bolt pointed at his abdomen, and he's gonna impale himself. And then
that's some dark shit right there.
And totally. And then you see that his kingdom is right underneath him. It's underneath this cloud cover, and he can't. It's like he can't see it because he's so lost in his pain and his anger.
Well, now, do Do they pull out like that to show the reader that he's completely unaware that the city's right there?
Oh, yes. It's really excellent storytelling. I mean, it's just I would love to talk to Jason Aaron and Mike Del Mundo and see if that was in the script or if that's a choice Mike Del Mundo made.
Or maybe Aaron, after he saw the proofs, were like, "Hey, at this." Who knows? But that's great storytelling.
I don't know. I love the way people work together in comics. I always like to ask them, "Was that in your script?" They go, "Oh no, that wasn't on my script. That was all the artist." Yeah. Or we work really close together. I just love stuff like that.
Or you can get an Alan Moore script that's like, and zoom in at this panel, at this and that. But yeah.
Yeah. Or you can get a Warren Ellis script that's like, blow things up for a page.
Exactly. Yay, comics.
No, I'm all about the collaborative art. I was always funny when you talk about wanting to talk to artists and creators about, this is how the script is. It's funny to listen to other creators talk about, like their co-workers, and about how they set up the scripts. That was something I noticed at Comic-Con. Like every panel I went to with one of my favorite writers, they just all kind of jab and poke at each other about how they set up their scripts. Yes.
Anyway.
Website. Anyways,
Spoilers.
So, do you have another one, Mr. Simon?
I do. It's just really fast. I'm going to talk about Star Wars.
All right, talk about Star Wars really quickly.
Star Wars Kanan, number 6. It used to be called The Last Padawan. Now it's back to the Rebels storyline. It's kind of a nice little recap. If you haven't read The Last Padawan, you can easily jump in if you like Kanan from Rebels. There you go. Now, go with the pick, sir.
Wow, that was great.
You said really quickly.
It was good. It was good. If you're liking Rebels, go pick up that series.
Exactly. And if you're worried that you haven't read the first 6, that's fine. Now it's Kanan linked up to Rebels timeline.
So now it's all caught up. Enough said.
All right, the pick, sir.
Pick time.
I get the pick of the week, and I am going with Nameless, number 5, out by Image Comics, Grant Morrison and Chris Burnham.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm hearing mms.
No, dude, I want to hear you talk about it.
I already have because I've edited your video, but people, you have no understand what a wizard I am sometimes.
I don't question it. I'm smart enough not to.
I had 27 minutes of footage.
Was he going to his left a lot?
No.
I'm always going to my left a lot.
I fixed that. I had 27 minutes. You guys only get about 13 minutes of it on YouTube. So go subscribe. Go watch his top 5.
Yeah.
Go watch my top 5 videos over at YouTube, Comic Impact. And thank you. God only knows what you're pulling out of those videos, archiving.
You're collecting. You're unconscious, sir.
Dude, I'm so scared, but I'm so terrified.
You owe Simon for the therapy bill.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. Because now what he's doing, literally, I can say this, right? Because it's you're cool with it.
Oh yeah, it is therapy.
Yeah, like halfway through the videos now, he's like, I don't know, man, you're like a therapist. Thanks.
Here's the thing about Nameless. I was so bummed that we had to wait 2.5 months in between 4 and 5, and it was totally worth it. Nameless is Grant Morrison's foray into cosmic space horror. And it's obviously got some of his, very recognizable storytelling points as far as the occult, and it's certainly very macabre. Very interesting characters. We were following a character by the name of... Well, he doesn't have a name. He just says he's nameless.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. Nameless.
That's his nameless. But I think he's very clear on trying to make people not call him that. He doesn't want to be named. So he is nameless, and that he doesn't want to have one. And everyone keeps placing the name on him.
In magic, if you name somebody, you have power over them.
Exactly.
Therefore, he's named Nameless.
That's why he's nameless, and he doesn't want people naming him.
I feel like we're going to find out his name, maybe last panel of the series.
Eventually, maybe, but what we've been dealing so far is this giant fucking asteroid is heading towards Earth. It's definitely putting out signals and vibes, and come to find out that it is pretty much like incarnate evil, and we're still learning more about it.
I hate when that happens.
But it's now heading towards Earth, and it's going to bring chaos and the apocalypse in ways that are completely unthinkable and unimaginable to the human brain. And it's such pain and agony and torture that just the sheer thought of it would drive people insane.
Yeah, and don't forget, the asteroid is actually God.
Yeah.
It is God.
That's what they say in the issue. It's actually the person who created Earth.
Yeah, and it is amazing that he was able to take this space horror type story and tie it into, not indirectly, but kind of religion, and name what God is in our existence.
Sir, it's not that amazing that he did this. This is Grant Morrison.
I know.
No, but what's kind of amazing about this issue is it's almost like a soft relaunch.
It is.
Like if you weren't following the other issues, you could read this issue and totally figure out what's going on.
Right, because issue 4 ends with the beginning of Hell on Earth. And then this issue, number 5, actually kind of steps back and goes, this is how it all started. This is how our little think tank of the world's greatest minds got together to try to communicate with these ancient beings up in the asteroid.
So I have a question for you guys.
This is where it all started. And by the way, Madness has never looked so beautiful at the hands of Chris Burnham and the colorist Nathan Fabian. It is mind-bendingly beautiful to just stare at these pictures in this comic.
Can I ask my question?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So I read this last night. I didn't get a chance to go back. Did you guys go back and read the first couple of issues?
No.
I'm kind of curious to do it now that we know how this team was brought together.
I can't. I'm gonna, when this comes out in a hardcover, I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna read it. No, but I mean, I didn't do that with. There was another Grant Morrison hardcover that just came out that I didn't get.
Happy?
But no, it's not Happy. It's it was Annihilator.
Oh, I do want to check that out.
I actually really, I mean, I really liked it, but I don't like it as much as I like Nameless. Good point. And I want to read Nameless like all the way through, from beginning to end.
And Nameless is such a Grant Morrison book that you have to do that kind of. Like, this is where I think having it as a collected edition would work better than single issues.
I totally agree. But saying that, I feel that Grant Morrison has become an expert at doing modular storytelling, because he does an issue here that reads like a first issue.
Oh yeah, this could easily be like number 1 and be like, okay.
No, it could have easily been a number 1, absolutely.
But when you put them all together, I agree with you, Simon. Like when you put them all together, the whole is going to be something that we can't perceive reading it in monthly issues.
I have a hard time with this as a monthly issue. Because
I totally agree with you. I think it's going to read great, though, as a collected.
I almost stopped reading this, honestly, because I was like, I just want to have the full story at once. And it's nothing against Morrison or
once again,
Berman.
Once again, I'm going to
great, but it's kind of like, give me the full story and not, the little thumbnail on the porn site. I want the full explosion. I don't know where I was going with this.
I'm not even going to touch that, but I'm almost going to be the guy. I like to split the vote. I'm sorry about that.
I know.
I have enjoyed reading it in singular issues. Darren's absolutely on point with the fact that each issue, it's like modular storytelling. You're absolutely right about that. The only drawback for it being monthly for me has been the delays in between each issue. That's my frustration with it. I'm also going to agree that, it will read fantastically as a collected series. But I have enjoyed taking it in parts at a time. I really, really have.
And I'm not saying I'm not.
Right.
I'm just saying
it like as an artistic piece.
I would love to have the full story at once.
Okay. Because my thing with this is that the whole issue is foreshadowing. Like, even though we're kind of taking it back to the beginning of how all these people got here, that in itself foreshadows everything that happened previously in the first 4 issues. And there's
Well,
even
it can't be foreshadowing if it happens after.
It's weird. It kind of does.
But I mean, isn't that an interesting narrative trick? Because foreshadowing is
You would
something
see
that's
it in the first issue.
It's supposed to happen earlier in the narrative.
Right. And because, like, if you go to this one specific page where it is finally all the big brains in one room getting all the introductions, you look very closely, and behind all the 4 panels is a bigger picture of what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was foreshadowing within foreshadowing.
But
but happening later in the series, so how is it considered foreshadowing? And then I just start going, oh my god, Grant Morrison, and then my head implodes.
But I would make the argument that it actually is foreshadowing in the sense that we've seen a lot of things happen in this series, but we haven't understood the content of it.
Right.
We're only now getting to understand, like, the meaning behind the monster.
Mm-hmm.
Like that wasn't present in the earlier issues.
I mean, it was actually, you just had to look for it.
Exactly. It's like a centipede trail.
I mean, Kirk, that's an amazing name. Maybe I should name my son that.
Yeah, he's going to, and that's fucking amazing.
I mean, I say that to everyone.
No, you're not taking that away from me, dude. That was my Grant Morrison moment. It was amazing.
Yeah?
You're not taking that away from me. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I'm going to be at Kamikaze, right?
Yeah, I'm going to stalk him over there, too.
Well, that's going to be awkward.
That is the worst Scottish accent, sir. Please stop.
Oh.
Oh!
I never said I could do a Grant Morrison accent.
I thought you were just fine.
Thank you. I love you, Darren.
I love you too, buddy.
Oh, there's so much love and hate. So that is my pick. It's Nameless. I think it's absolutely stellar. And then when it's an amazing ride as far as comics are going. I'm having fun watching Grant do indie stuff. I know everyone's freaking out that he's going to do the Wonder Woman year 1, and that's coming out soon.
Fine, I'm sure that was written a long time ago.
Exactly. I'm having more fun with Nameless, and I really liked Annihilator, and I'm currently reading 27 Days, and now...
27 Days is an old book, by the way. I did some research on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's...
I can't wait until he takes over heavy metal.
Oh, neither can I.
I think we'll be talking about some heavy metal soon.
Oh, we will. I mean, this month's issue actually had a really cool introspective on an entire series of Jack Kirby art.
Yeah, I have that issue. I got it specifically because of the story about the Kirby art.
Well, when you're done with that,
yeah,
you can bring that over, Darren.
Sure thing, buddy.
Thank you, sir. So, I guess we're done about comics, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you don't want to listen to us geek out about Doctor Who, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, go like videos. Go like us.
It is Comic Impact at all the socials, on Twitter, on Facebook,
okay,
on YouTube. And then,
J-Day.
I don't know. Huh? What?
J-Day. It's a Comic Impact. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all Comic Impact. Every single social media out there, we are Comic Impact.
All right. But if you are interested in talking about the Peter Capaldi part of the show, you are welcome.
Here it is.
Who wants to go first?
Okay, so this is episode 2, season 9, the continuation of The Magician's Apprentice, and now what was the name of this episode? It was... I don't know. It's part 2.
I was trying to see if you knew.
I don't remember.
I don't remember neither.
But now we discovered that it's the return of Davros, and he has put a... Davros. And Davros is dying.
Davros.
Doctor.
Davros created the Daleks.
The Daleks.
And then we discovered that our doctor actually met Davros as a small child way back in time somewhere.
Scarl.
And then walked away. It may or may not be the reason why he created the Daleks in the first place. Damn you, Doctor. But it was the whole... What did you guys think about this episode?
So, I wasn't on last week when you guys had your Doctor Who Jerk Fest.
Right.
Hey, come on, buddy.
Hey, I might be the biggest Doctor Who fan.
It's Doctor Who making love. We're making love. We're not jerking off.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude.
I did not like the first episode. Like, Kirk has heard me talk about how much I didn't like the first episode.
Right.
I thought it was fan service. It was designed for toys and T-Fury t-shirts and internet memes and all that. But I loved this one. Oh my god, I love this episode.
This episode was killer.
And you know who wasn't the killer star of this episode? It wasn't Peter Capaldi, PCAP. It wasn't Jenko. It was the actor that plays Davros, which I'm drawing a blank. Like, he surprised me so much in this episode.
Well, the stuff I liked the best was...
I mean, we're going heavy spoilers, people, also.
Yeah. The stuff I liked the best was when the Doctor and Davros it was just them alone.
I thought that was beautiful.
In his chamber. And they were talking about the concept of genocide, the concept of mercy, just like
friendship also.
Just like weighty shit that nobody ever talks about on any TV show ever.
Now, and here's the cool part. I don't remember... Oh, man, I really don't remember ever a time when Davros and the Doctor shared that much screen time together.
Genocide of the Daleks.
And it actually it was very intimate scenes. Like, it was very interesting. I've never seen that face-to-face.
Darren, you were talking last week about a series, an old classic Who storyline that Sebastian recommended to you.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite story ever in Doctor Who history. Because
great.
It is kind of the origin of the Daleks.
Yeah.
Or Daleks, whatever you want to call them.
Daleks.
But I feel like you can watch the Tom Baker story right there, and then you can watch these two episodes and totally get what's going on.
Mm-hmm. You don't need to see, totally fit together, yeah.
You don't need to see anything else. If they ever made a little box set, hey, BBC, package these two together. It'll work perfectly. And I think it's great. Yeah, it is the first time since that storyline that you really get the Doctor and Davros just talking. Because, in a way, they're kind of a flipped version of themselves. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Flash and Reverse Flash. It's kind of, you know, a bunch of other tropes I can't think of right now. But...
Well, it's kind of like one chose hope and one chose fear.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, you guys are talking about, did the Doctor make Davros? Did the Doctor make the Daleks because of leaving Davros there? I think Davros was pretty much an innocent kid, but I think that was always in him. I mean, you gotta think, okay, so the Doctor did save him, spoiler, as a little kid. Mm-hmm. You know, he took him home. But what else did that little kid see before the Doctor came along?
That's something I was going to point out. Like,
and
how much
Doctor,
of the war? Yeah.
But the point of the episode is not what created Davros. It is, what do you do? Is saving Hitler something you should do? Well, if you know he's going to become Hitler.
Well,
I feel this episode said, save the child. Save the child.
And hopefully...
show mercy.
Mercy.
Show mercy, even though he maybe grow up to become a monster, because it's your intention in life that matters.
Right. It's the cause.
How you approach. It's each moment matters, and you can't just like kill him because he's going to be Hitler.
Exactly, right. Because you never know. He might change. It's the cause that you're making to maybe tell, hey, I'm going to make a great cause. Maybe this will impact his life, and maybe he won't create these war machines.
Well, it's just so much about, it's so much like really heady concepts. Do you know what I mean? About the nature of good and evil over the span of a million years.
Which is so great because, let's not forget, Doctor Who was designed as a kids show originally.
Mm-hmm.
To teach kids about history and science.
And it still is. I mean, I still consider it a kids show.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching it in French, and when I came back on PBS, so I got introduced really early on, and it was just those two characters. Yes, the stuff with Missy and Jenko was great, but it was just those two actors were just awesome. And then Davros, when you think, spoiler, we told you before, when you think, let me look at you with my own eyes. Vader
No,
moment.
I'm gonna take so much fucking issue with this. Go
No,
ahead
no,
and
no,
say
no.
it, but then I am going to argue.
I know.
So hard.
I know you are.
Yeah.
But that scene where you're just like, oh my god, Davros he's like, I just want to see the sunlight again. I actually think this is it. We're not going to see Davros for a very long time. And then Davros, being the motherfucker that he is, sorry, internet, yeah, I'm cursing, fucks with the Doctor and it's like, ha ha ha, I'm going to reuse your fucking regeneration power and recreate myself and be stronger and better than ever and get all my little fucking minions to resurrect also.
Yeah, but I'm also going to resurrect, like, the fucking bones.
Exactly. In the sewers.
Of the Daleks.
That were in the sewers. See? There you go. There was your sewers reference from earlier today.
Thank God there were no turtles down there.
Well, the turtles would kick some Dalek ass.
Okay, no. You guys aren't off the hook. As much here's where the episode worked for me and didn't work for me.
I know you had beef with.
Well, there's a point. There's a point in the episode that didn't work for me. But
okay,
let Darren go. I'm curious to know what Darren.
Okay, so right away, I love Michelle Gomez. I think her take on Missy, the Mistress, the Master is polarizing. I'm definitely on the side of loving her. I loved fucking with the fans by putting Jenna back into a Dalek for a hot minute. I thought that was definitely just like, let's screw with the fans. Let's make them get a little worried and scared, because I was just there emotionally with Jenna's character as everything starts to close up around her again and she's stuck in the Dalek.
See, I didn't even worry about that. I was like,
yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a really great, callback to Souffle Girl.
Oh,
and I was in love with all the dialogue and moments happening between the Doctor and Davros until we get to let me look upon you with my own eyes. First of all, that's fucking Return of the Jedi, dude.
Dude, I didn't even think about it.
That is fucking Vader in Luke's hands, and I thought it was such an easy go-to. And this is where I get frustrated, because all this great writing, and it comes back down to fanboys falling on fanboy tropes. So we have look upon me with my own eyes. Oh, whatever. Bullshit. And then they make the really bad Doctor Dad joke. And then now you've got the Doctor and Davros laughing together. And I'm like, dude, that's just fucking Alan Moore at the end of Killing Joke.
I think you're reading too much into that.
No! Yeah, dude, you're reading way too much into it. It's fucking drama, and fucking Star Wars did not invent it.
Yeah, no, I think he's talking about... ridiculous. He's talking about the part where Davros asks, am I a good man? That part.
No, I think someone in the writing room should have been like, guys, I like what you're doing here. Find a different way to word it. I don't know.
You're reading too much into it, dude.
No.
I love you and all, but you're reading way too much into that.
No.
My only problem with the episode is how neatly and quickly they wrapped it up.
Well, it wasn't really that neat. There was shit.
I always hate that.
There was shit all over the place. Wah, wah, wah.
Well, I mean, no, but it was just suddenly like, I'm the hero, I saved everybody, Clara's not dead, and this is, you know what I mean? It's like...
See, I thought the part with Clara and the Doctor, when she's like, no, it's really me, and all he hears is, I am a Dalek. I thought that was great.
Mercy.
All that was really cool. It's like, no, it's me. I'm a Dalek. That part was awesome. We've always heard the Daleks say mercy before in older episodes.
But the Doctor wasn't really around.
To bring it
but
up.
What if the word mercy was in a Star Wars movie? Should they use it?
No. What I'm saying is how they used it.
I got it.
How?
I didn't even think about it, because contextually it was used in a completely different way.
Still, they used it. That's the part that I'm like, and they almost
fucking Star Wars does not have... Doctor Who was around before Star Wars.
Oh, dude, I am a big Star Wars fan. Star Wars came after Doctor Who, almost 10 years after.
Yeah, but this episode, that part, are
You're
you
reading
kidding me?
way too much into this.
Yeah.
I'd understand if
I
I'd
don't think.
understand if he was in the room and they were started comparing scars and said, you know what I mean, we need to get a bigger boat or something like
Yeah.
that. Then
No, I would understand if he goes, "Tell Clara you've arrived."
No. You can say that I'm reading too much into it. I say you're not reading enough into it.
no, you know what I'm going to say, Kirk, and this is not this is a criticism of somebody who's in the same boat as you. You're too close to everything in pop culture.
You are, dude.
So you see everything like that
And
because
I admitted
you see everything. But the average person would watch that and wouldn't fucking think of Star Wars. You think about it because you're a dude who knows all that shit and you know it backwards and forwards. You're a fucking Jedi yourself.
Dude, I love Star Wars, and I didn't even get that reference. And then I thought the internet was like,
oh God. It breaks my heart that you didn't even get it. Ugh.
breaks my heart.
Well, the good news is it's not. Here's the funny part. I was talking about this on Twitter, and this kind of wraps up everything we've just talked about. Is that I was like, wow, that was a really great issue. I still want to bitch blog about it. Is that weird? And someone actually.
No, you know what that is? That's called You're a Fanboy.
Yeah, exactly. And a bunch of people responded like, it's not Doctor Who if we don't bitch about it. Like, that's, I mean...
Oh, come on, people.
I love it.
Honestly, I'm not into bitching about it. I mean, it's like, did it work? Did it work as a dramatic episode? Yes.
Yes.
And that really is, like, that's really the criteria by which you should judge an episode.
Okay.
Not whether they fucking refer to Star Wars.
Ow, when you break it down like that, dude.
Dude, seriously.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, it's like, it's like, just because you know everything about pop culture doesn't mean it's not a valid episode. I mean, it's kind of like you're angry because you know too much.
No. I'm angry
if you're
because
reading
I think
too much
they
into
could have
it.
found just a slightly different way to accomplish the same thing.
So what? Let me look at you with my fucking asshole? Dude, he wants to look upon his arch enemy and probably the person that's the closest to him. So, I'm dying. I want to look at you for the last time and really appreciate the value that you've given my life. So let me look upon with my eyes. What's wrong with that? Dude.
With my own eyes. Let me look upon you with my own eyes. It's
well, he did have a cybernetic eye.
It's word for word, guys. It's word for word.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Reading too much into it, buddy.
Maybe am.
I'd say, you know, it's like into your hands I commend my spirit. Like if they said something like that, I go, you're totally ripping off the Bible.
But at least they say that they are citing the Bible, or that's the point. Like, that's why that works.
Dude, if you really want to break it down, and I can break it down with you one day, Moffat has done a lot of Back to the Future references.
Oh, you're not the first person to tell me that.
That's his favorite movie of all time, Back to the Future.
I actually think the use of look upon me with my own eyes is actually clever.
I think it is too. It's talking about
hey, it's a nod and a wink. I mean, it's clever. It's not a rip-off. It was used completely dramatically correct.
It works.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
In the comments down below, what side are you taking on this one, guys? Come on, help me out.
Team Kirk or Team Normal People?
Yeah, is it Team Kirk or Team Right?
Or Team Wow, Fanboy, kick back. So there you go.
And that was the second part of the podcast, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we will be doing Doctor Who wrap-ups every week while we do the Pick of the Week PAL podcast here at Comic Impact, all throughout the rest of Season 9.
So we got 10 more weeks of this.
10 more weeks. We might even do a Christmas episode.
Spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're ripping off Christmas.
I know. What the fuck?
Good night, everybody.